One of our staff attorneys, we approached the officials on ground, that's the Lagos State Task Force, and we told them that there's a court order ordering this shouldn't happen, that there shouldn't be anything like demolition, that this is disobedience of a court order, and everyone who's involved is subject to being held in contempt of court. We showed them documents, they weren't ready to listen to anything. I then took the next step and I called the state government's lawyer to notify him of what was going on, that this would affect the mediation that's going on and it would have to be brought to the attention of the court. So it became clear to me that there was no stopping what was happening on ground.
The organization gives figures of those affected.
Over 4,700 people were rendered homeless. And these are people who were among those who were rendered homeless last year in November when the first demolition took place. And they're people who, because of the court order and the protection of the court, they've been able to put shelters back up so that they can at least sleep at night. And what that shows us is that these people have nowhere else to go, that this is the only place that they have. You can see how many people are still around here, despite the fact that there's no more shelter here. What we've been trying to say to the state government for years now is that demolitions don't solve the problem of slums and informal settlements in Lagos. When you carry out a demolition, the people don't leave, the people just have to find another place. So you're just moving slums from one place to another. It's just pushing people who are already living in poverty further into poverty. So we've been trying to explain to them that this is not a long-term solution, that instead what they should be doing, and this is what we're eager to continue talking about with them, is they should be partnering with people living in slums or informal settlements to work out win-win solutions. The government comes in, makes sure that there's a plan or a layout, that there's a prototype of housing that's acceptable, and the community, through their own savings, through their own efforts, knowing that they have security of tenure, which means they won't be evicted, they now start bit by bit to put that plan into place and bring up the quality of the housing, the quality of the basic services in the community and so on. So that's the kind of solution that we've been talking about. This is what should be done instead of demolition.
Are you not concerned that they don't have requisite documents to back up their stay here, like a CFO or something that will be legal for them to stand on?
What happens is that the government takes advantage of people's ignorance of the law. They take advantage of it and they just make people believe that if they don't have a document that they don't have anything, but it's not actually true. Most cases that you see going to court, people are relying on oral evidence to back up their claims of owning a particular land. And it's traditional evidence, oral evidence, that's actually what most people use to back up their claims.
Governor Akinwumi Ambode had vowed to demolish all illegal waterfront communities in the state due to security concerns. But for Chapman, forceful eviction is a harsh response.
There is no law in Nigeria or in Lagos State that authorizes demolitions as a response to a security threat. What the government is meant to do if they have security concerns is they're meant to bring police, investigate crimes or suspected crimes, arrest people who are suspected of having been involved in criminal activity, charge them to court, prosecute them, and let them face the penalty under the law. So the government has been saying it as a way of justifying, but there's no legal basis for carrying out demolitions in response to security threat. And I want to add that the communities that we work with, they actually have mechanisms in place within their communities to address security concerns.
Meanwhile, the Lagos State government has clarified its position on the demolition by the Ministry of Environment. In a statement, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Mr. Steve Ayoride, explained that the action was carried out in order to forestall an environmental disaster and another round of community clash that led to the raising of the Otodogbame community in November 2016. Part of the statement reads that the action was informed by the overriding public interest to ensure that the waterfront area is free from environmentally injurious and unsanitary habitation few months after it was consumed by fire and rendered uninhabitable. End of quote. The government denied flouting any court judgments, insisting that it owes a duty to the larger population of the state to ensure that public health and safety is maintained. It added, however, that the trial judge did not deliver judgment on the matter, but rather referred the parties to multi-door house for mediation. Mr. Ayoride said the leave granted to enforce their rights was tantamount to an order of status quo on the parties, which amongst other things required that the claimants do not take any action within the area after it was destroyed by fire. The statement maintained that the state government was mindful of the welfare of the affected citizens and had indeed expressed its concerns and willingness to explore an amicable resolution insofar that the demands of the claimants are reasonable and lawful. The case is still in court at the moment, but from all indications, the demolition is one that may continue and residents are now left to an uncertain future.